Did you know that you can use a crowbar instead of lockpicks to break into things? This is a very handy way of looting and increasing your thievery skills. Also, did you know that you can pee on your plants if you've got a little garden patch? Because these plants need watering, and actually just peeing on them increases the water, as you can see doing here on this tobacco plant, where you'll spy the water level is going up. Did you know that you can cook food and then set a timer so you know when it's going to be ready? Obviously, you have to keep an eye on this because the longer it's on there, the more it's likely to be terrible if you don't watch out for it. But if you right click on the fire, you can see you can set an alarm a certain time before the food's ready. That'll give you a chance to run over and grab the food before it goes bad, giving you a chance of getting better quality food off of it. I left it too long here, as you can see, and it was poorly cooked, but if you time it right, you'll get that better quality food out of there. Also, did you know that occasionally when you do a poop, you might get lucky? So if you're very hungry, this is worth knowing as well, that when you need to do some pooping, if you poop properly, you will find, hopefully, that you might get a lovely little apple drop out. Now, this might seem a bit sinister, but actually that apple is perfectly fine and comes out with full health, meaning that you can eat it. And obviously this is helpful if you're hungry and you're struggling to find food while you're out in the wild. So there you go, a nice apple. Did you know there's a combat mode in the game where you'll be basically ready to be in a fight? So if you've got a bow out, you'll generally find it has this zoomed in view where you've got a closer look at the world and then you're ready to pull the arrow and fire it. But if you press V, you can switch between combat mode and the standard stance. Now this is handy because in the standard stance, you'll see that the zoom level goes back out again, so you can actually see more of the world. But you can still activate the bow really easily by just pressing the right trigger to ready it and then obviously going ready to fire, and then switching into first person view. So using V to switch between combat mode and less ready stance basically gives you a better view of your surroundings and enables you to keep an eye out for potential danger. If you visit the safe zones, which is the green areas on the map, you'll find that there are traders in there, and the traders have quests that you can access through these binders. You'll see a number of different quests in there that include basically going to collect things or doing different tasks, and you'll get monetary rewards for that, as well as fame points. So they can be worth doing, and you can do it with all the different traders in different locations. But there's one thing that you might not have realized is that sometimes if you've got a quest to just hand items in, you can just buy them from the trader and then give them to him. You can see I've got a quest to have 2 chocolate bars. I've purchased them and I've handed them in. Now this can actually work because it will give you the fame points and it will give you the money. If you look at the task and see what the reward is in terms of how much money you're going to get out of it, and then have a look at the trader and see how much they're selling the products for, you can work out whether it's worth it. You might find, for instance, that buying 3 lots of soap is less money up front to buy that than it is what you get in return for handing the quest in, and obviously you've got the benefits of the fame points as well. I'd recommend stocking up on things that you can sell to the traders first so that you've got a good amount of money on you. But when you've sold those things and completed the quest, you then get extra money transferred straight into your bank so you can then boost up your money. This is actually a good way to boost your money and your fame points at the same time, assuming you've already got some money that you can spend at the traders. You can repeat this process at the different traders across the island and at various different points. But obviously some of the quests will require other things beyond just buying and selling, so you might actually have to go out and do a task. You can also do quests at the other traders, so the armourer also has quests. However, it's not quite so easy because what I found here is that the things the armourer sells are more expensive than the money you get back from the quest. So just check to make sure it's actually going to be beneficial for you because you don't end up losing money while doing this. Once you've crafted a workbench, it's possible to then use the crafting to create a lockpicking board. Lockpicking board requires some padlocks, a workbench, nails, rubber band and a plank. Relatively easy, apart from the workbench, which is quite tricky. Once you've done that, you can deploy it somewhere in your base. I put it here on the sofa because weirdly it won't go anywhere else on a table or whatever. And you can then interact with it. So put it in your vicinity, you can twiddle it around by rolling your mouse wheel if you didn't know that already. And then you can lockpick it by pressing and holding F on it and then choosing which sort of lock you want to practice on. I chose basic lockpicking and found that this was pretty difficult to do, weirdly. But if you keep going at it, and then eventually when you succeed, you'll find that it increases your thievery. So it does actually give you experience in getting better thievery, but only when you are successful with picking the lock. So you can see it's increased my overall experience in thievery there just a little bit. Now, I should warn you that basically it fails a lot. You do get infinite lockpicks and infinite screwdrivers to do this, so you don't actually use anything up while doing it. But for some reason, it's very difficult. It fails constantly, and so you won't get any XP unless you're actually succeeding each time. So you might be better off just going to a police station with a screwdriver and a lockpick and just picking all the locks on those, because not only do you get the benefit of the experience boost, but you also get loot out of it as well. I showed earlier on about how you can use a crowbar to break into things instead of lockpicking. So you'll see we've got a crowbar here, it's got 24% health on it, and if we use that, we can actually force the lock. So just go up to a locker and tap F instead of pressing and holding to pick lock. And you can see now that it goes through that process. Now, this does actually increase your thievery skill, so it does give you an experience points boost for doing it. It is very noisy, and it takes ages. I've sped up the process there, but it does improve your skills. One thing to bear in mind is it does damage the crowbar, though, so it's taking it from 24% health to 12%. So you need to make sure you've got tools that are good enough, because it might just break while you're doing it. So my crowbar broke on the second attempt. Now I can't use it anymore. It's worth increasing your lockpicking skills because you might get lucky and find a vehicle. I found a mountain bike that someone had left behind with a lock on it. Now, I wanted to use a bobby pin and a screwdriver to create a lockpick here. So extract the bobby pin, then go to crafting and then craft a lockpick. And then using that, we can then pick the lock on this bike and hopefully make it ours. You do need to make sure you've improved your skills though, because good quality locks will be harder to break. You can see that one just failed immediately. But crafting a whole load more lockpicks, I gave it another go and stuck with it. And then just keep practicing and keep trying until you end up getting it, because it is worth having a vehicle and being able to drive it around. Also, increasing your skills will make it possible to break into someone else's base. The game rewards you for moving around a lot in the game. You'll see that the various stats here can actually be increased, especially when you're overburdened. So you'll find that when you start moving, you can see all my stats for strength, constitution, and dexterity are increasing slightly, and I'm actually getting benefits. This is because I'm overweight, so I've got a lot of loot on me, and I'm carrying it around and going back to base. And this is improving across the board here. Downsides are you'll burn through food and water more quickly, and you obviously exhaust your character, and the potential for overheating as well, which is something to keep an eye on, but it is worth doing. If you've created a flower bed and you have planted things, there's various things you can do to increase your farming level, which then improves things. Using weed repellent, for example, you can spray that and that gives you an XP boost. You can also apply fertilizer. You can also weed the bed. So you'll see if you press and hold F, you'll get the option to remove weeds. And you can see my garden here is full of weeds, so I have to go through and remove all of those weeds. But every time you do it, obviously you're increasing the chances of the plant working, and also you're boosting up your experience points while doing it. So the farming is actually increasing each time. It's a chore and it takes ages, but it's worth doing. You can get weed repellent, which can help with this, but doing it by hand is also an option. You also have to stay on top of watering. So if you find a watering can and you've got a well, you can fill the watering can up from the well and then use that to water your plants. You'll see, and I'll show you in a second how to do this, that some plants require a lot of water, some more than others, but you can also get an idea of how much they need to be watered as well. And then you can just go over and press and hold F on it and then go to water the plant as the option there to water. What you'll find is the watering can only seems to water a certain area, though not the whole garden. I did show you earlier on you could pee on it, though, as another option. Now, if you find cherries and other things in the world, you often see if you right-click, you get the option to collect seeds rather than just eat. One handful of cherries actually turns into 3 lots of cherry seeds, meaning we can plant 3 cherry plants in our garden. And then if you keep on top of fertilization and watering and other things, eventually you'll end up with cherry trees, and then you'll end up with a load of cherries. So it's actually a good ROI to do that. Now you can see my garden has a lot of plants in it, but some of them are giving us the option to destroy them. Now what I found is that if you right click, you'll actually get a view of more information about each of the little plots in here. So you can see what's planted, and it'll also tell you its status. You can see this cabbage is dead. So is this cabbage, which is obviously not good, and that cabbage. And I found a lot of things in my garden were dead because I've not been staying on top of them properly. The melons are okay, they're ripe, but a lot of the other things are dead here. So that's not ideal. Well, when they are dead, what you have to do is remove the plant and then replant another seed in that position. You'll notice, if you look, that you get an idea of a few different things in this. Basically, the status of the plant, how much water it's getting, whether it's getting enough sunshine, and whatever else you need to know. And then you can use this to your advantage. You'll also notice when you go up to the bed that if it says destroy plant, this actually relates to the plant being dead. So if a plant has died, you'll see immediately when you go near it that you just get the option to destroy it. And live ones, or ones that are seeding or are in the process of growing, don't say that. So you can see that this one here isn't dead, it's seeding, and so it doesn't tell you to destroy it unless you press and hold F to get that option. Which means that you can go up to the bed and you can easily destroy the ones you don't need that are dead and then plant new ones instead. So this right click is really helpful in terms of farming and what you're doing with it. You can also use this to get a view of how much water each of the plants has got and then focus on watering the more important ones, whether it's by peeing on them or by using a watering can or spilling nearby bottles on it as well. So that's another option that you can use.